Okay, this is going to be the intro of the skit. In this skit, you're going to have 5 characters at least. You're going to have the main character, who is called the Man in the Park. Now, as you know, the name of the skit is going to be called Resurrection in the Park. And then you're going to have 4 passerbys. Okay? So in the opening scene, there's going to be a man sitting on a chair or a bench reading a newspaper. He's going to be relaxing, while he gets into the current events section. He's kind of just keeping up with what's happening, what's going on. He's got his nose in the newspaper. Probably be some birds chirping in the background. Give it the mood of a very peaceful, relaxing, nice day. He's in the park. And he's first going to be approached by a man who will ask if he can join him. That's going to be pretty much, when it comes to lines, the main character. He's going to be the one bringing it home. So whoever is passerby number 1, that's you. That's going to be the main character kind of holding it all together. Now, what's going to happen here in this skit is that he's sitting down in the park, and he really doesn't want to be bothered much. He just kind of wants to enjoy the day, get in his paper. He's one of those type of guys. And everyone else, what happens with passerby number 1, he starts to gain his interest. And just, passerby number 1 is one of those social guys, that just walks up to people and just wants to talk and have a conversation. And, well, the guy in the man in the park isn't like that. So what happens is that passerby number 1 asks if he can join him. He says, fine. And then he goes on to the man in the park says, hey, look, I just like, you're not disturbing me. I just like, reading my paper and keeping up with what's going on. So that's kind of the open door there, for passerby number 1. He's like, oh, have you heard of the new laws they just passed on capital punishment, And the other guy's just not really interested. That's not really what he's into, But what happens here in this story, in this skit, that I want you to understand, is that other people passing by also get captivated in the conversation, and they all start adding in their 2 cents. All of a sudden, this becomes a conversation that starts to lure or engage the man in the park. Now, what they're going to be doing, or how this scene needs to be set up, it needs to be set up kind of nonchalant yet serious. And if everyone can have the same mood or character, I think that we can pull this off so that the audience is unaware of who exactly they're talking about when the conversation goes to a man who was executed, who was innocent. So as you read the storyline, you're going to come to understand who that person is. Through the whole scene, they're describing the events of this person and how they brutally tortured him, how he was a nice guy. And that's going to gain the interest of the man in the park. He's really going to get touched by the story. He's going to be kind of, surprised that he did not hear about this. Because remember, this is a guy who keeps informed with current events, always knows everything. He knows what's going on. He's one of those guys that really doesn't get in conversation with you unless you know what's happening and what's going on in the world. He's one of those kind of guys. If you don't have something to say that's current, that's interesting, if you're not up to date with what's going on, then he doesn't talk to you. But you see, what's going to happen here is that this crowd of people are going to know about an event that the whole world knows that he doesn't know about, that he doesn't remember, and that's kind of going to bug him, and that is why he starts to put his paper down. He starts to get into the conversation, and at the end of the conversation, he wants to know who this is, when this happened, how did this get by him, is kind of his how he's thinking. And of course, the person they're talking about is Jesus Christ. And so when they tell him who this person is, by this time, he's already touched on who this person is by how everyone describes what happened to him. So at the end, he's really touched and perhaps ready to repent. So on the next scene, we'll go through the lines as to how it's going to go.